Perfect.
See, I like had to stop myself from screaming. I wanted to be like, ha ha ha.
Hi y'all, and welcome to a new episode of Talkin With Taylor. Today I'm joined by John Michael Breen, or JM, who is with me from the national tour of Rock of Ages. So, JM, tell me a little bit about your role. I'm excited. I have never seen Rock of Ages.
Oh,
so
really?
This is my first time, and I'm so excited.
Oh, man.
This is the music I grew up on, so I'm excited to...
It's a super fun night. I like to say it's the best like face melting, hair metal jukebox musical you'll ever see in your life. Yeah, I play Lonnie, who's the narrator of the evening. He also works at the Bourbon Room, which is sort of a central point of the plot of Rock of Ages. So I spend most of my evening sort of stepping in between, breaking the fourth wall and then stepping back into the action.
Gotcha. You have such a unique role, like kind of breaking that fourth wall and then going back into character. How do you do that? How do you navigate?
It's something you can't really explain. It's just, I get to open the show with kind of a curtain speech, and then I start the opening number, and I get to kind of read the room and read the audience every single night, and that is kind of how I settle in. So I can sort of gauge what they're gonna really be into, or what jokes are really gonna land, or if something is not landing, then I have plans B and C kind of up my sleeve.
Yeah, and it seems like you have really great camaraderie as a cast, and you're
Absolutely.
traveling all over the place together. Do you have any favorite behind-the-scenes memories?
We did a weekend in Denver recently, which was pretty incredible. Those audiences were just spectacular, and that city is so special.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of one-nighters, which means just one performance in a given venue.
In and out.
So if anything, it's learning how to kind of navigate a venue and know, where you cross over from stage left to right, and where the costumes are and where everything is. And sometimes you exit the stage and you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? Who am I? You have a mini existential crisis, and then you move on.
And so you're traveling all over the place. You're it's kind of a gypsy, basically, from town to town.
Oh, yeah.
But where's home for you?
I grew up in Massachusetts, sort of right near the New Hampshire and Mass border.
Nice.
And then I went to school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Point Park, and now I live in Brooklyn.
Have you been back through that area with the show?
Yeah, we opened in Boston at the Wang Theatre, which was a pretty incredible week. And we did a little East Coast leg after that, but we've kind of scattered to the wind since then.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about taste. I love your style. I like
Thank you.
what you got going on. Tell me, do you draw this from your character? Is this from your personal style? What do you draw from?
Oh, yeah. Any character I'm playing, I do definitely enjoy getting into their head, and Katie and I, who you'll interview in a second, we're Pinterest fanatics, so I love going on Pinterest and there's so much technology and so many resources now to find and draw images and inspiration and research, and I don't know, I'm definitely feeling like an 80s rockabilly, you find your people and your fashion icons, and you just kind of go, I want to look like that, I want to do that.
Yeah.
How are you doing that? How do I get the affordable version of that?
Right. How do you pick and choose? Do you have there's so many great bands and such a kind of variety of music in the show. Is there a band that you are most close to, or a song you're most close to?
My dad raised me on Journey's greatest hits when I was growing up. So Open Arms and Any Way You Want It and Don't Stop Believin' obviously are songs that I feel really close to. But I've been really into Poison recently.
Yeah.
I was just doing some shopping earlier today. There are so many great record stores and vintage clothing shops and rock shops here in Omaha. So Poison's catalog has kind of been on my Spotify while we're traveling. I love all their stuff.
That's great. Well, I cannot wait to see you in this role, and I cannot wait to see the show.
I'm so excited.
And thanks for talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
Today I'm joined by Katie Lamarck from the national tour of Rock of Ages. Thank you so much for sitting and talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
I can't wait to chat. Tell me a little bit about your character.
So I play Sherry Christian, who we meet at the beginning of the show, and she is a corn-fed cutie from Kansas, and she decides to go out to LA and pursue her dreams of being an actress, and big stretch.
Right.
And then she sort of, through her misadventures trying to find a job, falls in love, and through misunderstanding ends up, boy meets girl, girl accidentally takes him as a friend, and, through this miscommunication, we sort of see the journey of Sherry and Drew, who is another young hopeful in Los Angeles, trying to come together, sort of all in the landscape of this 80s rock musical set on the Sunset Strip.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and, from Sunset Strip to KC Strip, it sounds like your character's kind of rooted in Kansas. And, before we go too much into the show, you have a great little Starlight history. You've been with us before.
I have, and it was very fun. It was, I don't know, maybe like 4 years ago now, I think.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a minute. I was with the parody musical of 50 Shades of Grey, playing Anastasia Steele. And when we got to Kansas City Starlight, it was a special occasion for us because we were the very first show where they tried out the model for having an indoor venue.
Yeah, which is now in its 5th year, and it's going really
Doing
strong
beautifully,
thanks to the foundation that you all built.
Yeah. Oh, and it was not a perfect foundation, but honestly, we signed up for trial and error, so it was all in good fun, and we were there for the, the tryout. And because it was still freshly indoor venue from outdoor, during the show, there was another actor on stage with us, a bat, who decided that he would like to make his cameo during the show.
Well, tell me a little bit more about kind of the music in the show. I mean, it's such a great, variety of music, catalog of music. What's your favorite piece to kind of get into in your character?
Well, I think I like seeing whenever people talk about the music, they just sort of do this with their hands, which I think really speaks to the kind of music that we're singing, which is that in the 80s, this music was larger than life. And it requires you to sing to the end of your voice and to just like really give everything you have from the toes up. And I think that when you are in a position of singing that music, it's really electric and alive and energetic, which having this music specifically is important. But my favorite song to sing every night is Harden My Heart, which in its 10-year anniversary, they've made just a few little tweaks and changes to the script and the order of the songs. And so it's my entrance into Act 2, where we see that Sherry's been in LA for a minute and she's changed, she's grown a little. And she sings this song about toughening herself and in really like getting down and understanding herself. And after my mother saw the show, incidentally, I'm also from Boston, Massachusetts, so when we opened there, my mom came up to me after the show, and she's a professional singer, and she talked about how funny it was to see me singing that song, because when she was in a band, when she was my age, that was like one of her big hits that she would sing. So I feel very connected to that song in a lot of ways.
That's so interesting that your mother was a singer. And
both my parents, actually,
cool, cool. And she was in a band, and so you kind of... Did you grow up in kind of that environment?
Totally. My sister and I were studio kids for sure. We would do background vocals as kids for albums. And I think, it's funny, a lot of people say, oh, you weren't even born yet when this music came out, and they sort of question whether or not we have that connection to it in the same way that they do. But I think growing up with my parents in this business, I was introduced to every facet of the music world, and I really do feel a deep connection to it. I know most of our cast does as well, because even if we personally didn't grow up with it, it's and it's also so much a part of the zeitgeist. I think it's really accessible because
it's cultural music. I mean, it is very much a part of everyone's
sewn into
life.
everything.
You can't turn on the radio. I mean,
we can't go anywhere.
No.
IHOP, the mall. We're like, we just have no place to go. We can't escape, but we love it.
So in the world of rock stars on stage, tell me a little bit about life off of the stage. You've got this great cast that has all this great, connection with each other, and you're traveling the country, all over the place. Do you have any favorite memories with this cast? You live that rock star life on stage. Is it a quiet and
Almost. I think it's funny because, of course, there is an amount of quiet and respect for each other because the thing that keeps us from being rock stars is that we don't have the one big show.
Right.
We're maintaining this through 8 shows a week.
Right.
So there's a lot of rest time. But I think the thing that makes it fun and makes it feel like that rock star lifestyle is that it's not as glamorous as people make it out to be, which I think is the thing that makes it authentic. Like, are you sleeping on the floor of the bus? Yeah, totally. But then I go get to do this amazing thing when I go to work at night, so I don't mind sleeping on the floor of the bus.
Well, I can't wait to experience the show, and I can't wait for Kansas City to
Oh,
experience
you're gonna have a blast.
And I can't wait for you to come back to Kansas City.
Oh,
and
I'm so excited.
this time we'll lock up the bats.
Oh no, please. I want them out there with me. That's if you're listening to me right now. The call time is 7 o'clock to the theater.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Talking with Taylor. For more videos like this, follow us on social media at KC Starlight and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/KC Starlight. Rock of Ages plays Under the Stars May 31st through June 2nd. Get your tickets at kcstarlight.com.